Yo, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Conan the Destroyer by none other than Robert Jordan. By the way, this is the movie tie-in novel to the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan the Destroyer movie, which was the second Conan movie they made after Conan the Barbarian. Conan the Barbarian, one of the greatest movies of all time. Conan the Destroyer, well, let's just say it's not one of the greatest movies of all time. However, this book is killer. I mean, and we'll kind of contrast the movie from the book a little bit here as we get into it. But let's talk about it. The book came out in 1984. The cover was done by well, I don't know who the cover. It's a great cover, but there's a signature down here, but I don't recognize the signature. And I could not find cover credit anywhere in the book. So it's published by Tor Books. Tor Books usually, Tor Books. They usually give credit to the artists, but they didn't in this case. Don't know why. Whatever. Is what it is. Let's move on. There is, however, a lovely map of the world of the Conan the Barbarian. That also, we don't know who drew that either, because they didn't mention that either. So anyway, what's crazy is, in the back of this book, there is, and I don't know if I can show this, but there is about 10 pages of advertisements for different Tor books that you can buy. I mean, page after page. Page after page of different, remember back in the day in the 70s and 80s when you would mail order books this way, where you would just snap a page out of, you would just mail order them with these I mean, it just keeps going on and on. But what would happen is you would fill out your order and send a check to the address, and then it says delivery in 6 to 8 weeks. When I was a kid, I bought a lot of my books using those 6 to 8 week order forms that you would find in the back of the books. Young kids today have no idea how hard it was, especially for someone like me who grew up in Sevier County, Utah, where there were no bookstores. And so really, and the nearest bookstore was in Salt Lake City, which was about 180 miles away. And so it's almost like we had no choice. But when I saw these in the back of the book, it just made me remember my youth and how I would just love looking at those order forms. And I would order a ton of books and then wait my 6 to 8 weeks. There was no Amazon.com back then, folks, where you'd order a book the next day. Sometimes that afternoon, it would just arrive on your shelf. No, I had to wait 6 fucking weeks, maybe 8. And I sent them a check just in the hopes that they wouldn't steal it from me. I mean, it was like a gamble. It was like there was no rhyme or reason. I mean, I was living in the dark ages. I'm getting myself worked up. I don't know why I held such fondness for living in backwards times, but I do. Let's get to the book. Yeah, okay, I'll just read the back of the book and then the back of the DVD. In the fabled city of Shadizar, sultry Princess Tamaris hires Conan to recover the magical gem known as the Heart of Ahriman. Accompanied by the beautiful maiden Jenna, Conan must vanquish scheming murderous Bombata, the princess's henchman, and face the sinister guardians of the Horn, only to confront the foul and ancient many-fanged demon god Dagoth. With Jenna's life and Conan's very soul at stake, Conan must truly be the Destroyer. Let's see if that matches what they say on the cover of the on the back of the. Okay, Universal is back with further adventures of Conan the Warrior King, and this time he is joined by a large cast, including, you know, whatever, Grace Jones, Wilt Chamberlain, yada, yada, yada. In this second Conan epic, he is asked by the evil Queen Tamaris to accompany a beautiful young princess to find a magic treasure. If he returns with the treasure and the virgin, the queen promises to bring Conan's beloved Valeria back from the dead. But little does he know that she plans to kill them both, or that the return of the treasure will mean the extinction of mankind. Okay, so we get a little bit more info on the back of the DVD, in that Conan agrees to the quest in both the movie and the book, because the Demon Queen will return his love, Valeria, back to life. And so that's why he goes on the quest. And it's pretty cool. I will say that reading the book is more pleasurable than watching the movie, in that the movie is just put together. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger does a good job. The girl that plays the young princess, you can see her up here, she's the virgin princess, she does a good job. I can't remember what her name is. I bet it's on the credits here. Let's see, Olivia Diabo, that's right. Yeah, I remember having... I'll be honest. I watched this movie over and over and over as a kid just because of Olivia Diabo. She was smoking hot in the day. And then... so where were we? Oh, yes. So the book I like more because I can envision the scenery in my own mind, and it's beautiful. The movie, however, uses some set pieces that look like they were put together by kindergarten children, and it's just hokey and flimsy and weak as... There's no other way to say it. But if you watch this and you look at some of the sets, they are just laughable. And so it's just better to read Robert Jordan's description of this, of what's going on, because Robert Jordan, author of The Wheel of Time, I've got them all right there, is a very descriptive writer, and he's very descriptive in his Conan books too. In other words, just like in The Wheel of Time, if a character walks on scene, Conan describes everything they're wearing in great detail, and the castles that they're in great detail, the forest that they're in great detail. He does the same thing in these Conan books, which is great because it puts a picture in my head of a lush, beautiful world that Conan inhabits. Whereas if you watch the movie, you think he's inhabiting a really poorly lit Star Trek set from, the 1960s. It is what it is. I'm just saying. I'd rather read the book. The book gives you a better picture of what's happening. It's much more exciting, much better. And I just liked that. I just enjoyed the reading experience more. Rather, so anyway, as we go along in this book, as like the movie, Conan goes on this adventure. He collects different traveling companions as he goes, and it's fun as he meets them, and he goes through his adventure, and we told you what it was. So that's it. That's the review. That's all I'm going to say. I think as a Conan novel, this is pretty good. I gotta say, I was entertained by this to the point of I would give it an 8 out of 10. Now, we will review some more Robert Jordan Conan books in the future, but I thought I'd start with this one. So, there you have it.